Welcome to this ASMR edition of Tales from Outer Space, where we like to take stories from space from around the internet and read it aloud for your entertainment. Psych, that's not happening. We're doing this with energy. With energy, I'm telling you. Subscribe, damn it, and all that other YouTube stuff. All the links will be down below as per usual. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. I'd quickly like to thank the following Tier 5 patrons and channel members for supporting the channel. Datamagnet and Bob the Dragon. Thank you very much. Story number 1. The Abyss Gazes Back, written by IceFire9. When the people of the home began to explore the multiverse, they were filled with curiosity, hope, and wonderment. What mysterious new worlds would they find? What strange new species? Just how diverse is infinite multiverse? The home is static, a soup of gases, liquids, and solids intermixed with each other. The universe has been this way for billions of years, perhaps forever. Routinely, currents sweep in from the vast expanse, bringing in new nutrients and materials. Life flourished in the home, and no one ever truly wanted for anything. Millions of species coexisted peacefully. The crew of the vessel to enter another universe suffocated in seconds as the air escaped into the void. At least 99.99% of this universe was pure vacuum, and no ship had ever been designed to be airtight. There was never any need. Vacuums had been created and designed in laboratories. Sometimes they were even useful, but nobody had ever thought that such a thing could exist in nature. The natural tendency of things, claimed philosophers, was for something to exist within a space. What is the point of a volume existing if there was nothing to fill it? The crew of the second vessel rose to death. It turns out the vacuum is far colder than anything they encountered outside the laboratories. Scientists had thought it impossible for something so cold to exist in nature. In their reality, perhaps that was true, but not in the strange new one. The crew of the third died of radiation sickness. It took a while to figure out how. How could something simultaneously be so cold yet filled with deadly radiation? The answer was terrifying. The vast majority of this world was a vacuum, yes, but the parts that weren't empty space were nuclear fusion reactors of vastly incomprehensible size. They spewed scorching radiation out into space, sterilizing anything nearby. The crew of the fourth was ripped apart by a close encounter with something. It wasn't a collision. They simply passed by a large rocky object that tore their ship apart from a distance. It was at this point that the scientists began to figure out how this universe works. What made it different? It was just one thing, something they called a universal attractive force. Everything in the universe was attracted to everything else. Materials, instead of mixing together into a life-giving soup that pervades the home, coalesce and collapse into these massive fusion reactors, leaving the surrounding space empty. The fifth crew survived. They, who had never seen more than a few feet in front of them through the mists of the home, now saw infinity. They saw the endless blackness of the void, and they saw the countless pinpricks of light, each one an incomprehensibly powerful inferno. It was deadly. It was impossible. It was incredible. It was beautiful. And it almost felt like each of the thousands of dots of light was an eye. It was almost as if the universe was watching them. And as they peered into the endless void of growing existential terror, they could swear that they heard it speak to them. "You do not belong here. Leave." And so they did. The scientists and the philosophers and prophets and politicians all agreed that this universe was uninhabitable by any and all forms of life. Explorers turned to the next one, hoping to find something more hospitable. They didn't. Instead, they found in the universe after universe the same thing. gravity, the vacuum, the lights seemingly watching them like the many-eyed eldritch creature. The prophets and religions of the home were quick to spin these discoveries. They were blessed. They were special. The home was unique in the multiverse. Truly, they said, we are the chosen ones. Those who had actually been in any other universe could never quite bring themselves to believe it. Privately, in the back of their minds, they knew the truth. The other universes weren't the accidents. The home was the accident. The other universes, with their power and majesty and lethality and beauty, were how reality was truly meant to be. The home, with its soup-like mists, had shrouded them from the truth. Most people regarded the explorers who came back from the other universes as somewhat insane. The explorers, those who had looked into the infinite and saw the infinite look back at them, believed themselves to be enlightened. At first, these explorers swore that they would never go back. Eventually, every last one gave in. The stare of the universe. It wove its way into their dreams. It was incredible. It was astonishing. It was evil and wonderful. It was everything and nothing. It was impossible to resist. They had gotten bolder, moving closer to the massive infernos. They'd set their ships to careen around rocky bodies that itself was careening around the inferno. That's how these universes work. If you move fast enough sideways, the attractive force won't pull you in fast enough that you'll just end up going in circles. It was insane. It didn't take long for them to notice. As they passed over the lit side into the side shrouded by darkness, they saw the truth. Lights, thousands of lights dotted the surface. There were shining hubs, out from which filaments of light spread out like cracks in a glass. With dawning horror, they realized. This was life. This was sentience. How was this possible? How could something possibly live in an orb of rock in a freezing vacuum of space, falling around an unfathomably huge thermonuclear explosion? What sort of eldritch creature could survive, even thrive in such a place? And yet, there the proof was, the lights staring up at them just as the lights of 1,000 infernos stared down. And then the universe said, "Now do you see? You do not belong here. Reality isn't meant for you. It belongs to them." End of story. Story number 2. How They Fight, written by Empty Space. The Intazo are an elegant people. You can tell how they fight. The Intazo rifle looks almost indistinguishable from one of our own curved blades, and doubles with the same function. The standard fighting style doesn't squander this benefit, dashing across lines and down ranks, raking enemy with gunfire and slashes until the enemy is too tired to fight. A fistfight between two Intazo is difficult to tell apart from a dance, and this elegance is reflected in every aspect of their society, with tall, arching buildings gracing their planet and flowing words rolling along one another as they speak. Everything, from the way they carry themselves to the performance in bed, is best described as elegant. I can speak from experience, not only that all people on the galaxy should sleep with an Intazo at some point in their lives, but for their fighting. I fought the Intazo army before. I've seen how they operate. I fought a great many battles before, against a great many people. This acrylic are a proud people, and you can see it also in how they fight. When I was engaged with them and one on their colonies, I saw a battalion of them forsake their weapons as their heads raised and their throats roared as they signaled their charge. They moved with an order only befitting one fueled by honor. When one of my squad mates felt injured, they did not strike at him. They didn't move to kill him. Instead, they cleared away, moving the site of battle away from the fallen warrior. When the dust cleared and we saw that he was not with us, we assumed that he was taken prisoner. until the next morning we found him sleeping at the front gates of our base of operations, and his acrylic had made sutures over his wounds. Like the Intarsia, their architecture says much about their pride, with facades on their homes telling of battles, both external and internal, the inhabitants had fought. Some met with victory, others with less success, but this acrylic valued the fight more than victory. Defeat is only a possible outcome to them, and returning defeated is no more shameful than returning victorious. You can see this in how they fight. I've fought a great many people before, but there is one race that I haven't fought. I've hardly seen them fight either, the race called human. The only human I've ever seen fighting was when one of my friends showed me what was supposed to be a sparring match between two of the greatest human hand-to-hand experts in their arts. It was hardly a spectacle. The two stood there in defensive postures, circling each other, rocking back and forth and occasionally making a threatening movement, for 2 of their hours straight. Eventually, one overextended himself, and the other exploited the opening. What had taken 2 hours to build up was then ended in 2 seconds. As quickly as it ended, the combatants showed their respect for each other and immediately settled into their alert posture again for round 2. But I'd already seen enough. Combined with reports of their success against the Hellion and a brief net search of their homeworld, I understood how they fought. The humans are an inefficient people. You can see it in how they fight. The combatants didn't make a move it didn't think that it could win. Only those which would produce the desired consequences would be expressed, and if they couldn't strike with a significantly positive result, they waited. They were content with waiting until the opponent should make a mistake, no matter how long it may be. When they were confident enough in their movement, they made sure that it was done, and the manner in which they acted was surprising. I had to slow down the last 2 seconds of their match just to see how it was done, and was almost concerned with how it was done. The maneuver must have required such an intimate understanding of their own physiology. I don't know if I could rival it with my knowledge of my own. And the pictures I found of their world only served to confirm this. While the Intarsia pursue elegance in aesthetics, and the Zilcrylic pursue honor in decoration, humans appear to care little about how their architecture looks on the outside. Many of their structures are simple rectangular blocks covered in glass. A human assured me that this was starkly elegant, but I'm not sure if I believe them. The humans are an efficient people, and the only ones I dread having to fight. End of story. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you do, please consider supporting the author, even by popping over and leaving a thumbs up or a nice comment, just to show your appreciation for the story. However, if you wish to support this channel, there are links down below which will help immensely. I will see you all in the next one, and until then, I hope that you have a fantastic day. Cheers.